First of all, this is a critics movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean this.
Yeah, you see that 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's why.
Straight up, this is a critics movie, and again, hear me out, because I'm not saying good thing or bad thing.
It just is.
Hey everyone, support our Patreon, which helps us to continue bringing you our live streams, videos, and podcasts while bringing you new content such as exclusive live streams and animated shorts. I don't know how this is today, because when we're coming up, if you love movies, people would actually question your love of movies. Sometimes if you just say, I like movies. Oh, you like movies? Have you seen Citizen Kane? You know,
the greatest movie of all time.
The greatest movie of all time. Oh, no, you think you love movies.
It's the stairway to heaven.
It is, yes. Yeah, that's what it is, man. Oh, how cute. You think you love movies and you've never seen Citizen Kane? And I'm sure some people out there, like, we're at this point now where people are young enough to where they don't even know.
No.
Citizen Kane. What rap is that?
Mm-hmm.
You got some,
right?
You got some new shit out? Citizen Kane. At one time, and I don't know how it holds up today, but at one time it was the greatest movie ever made by the genius Orson Welles.
Citizen Kane is a modern American story about a man called Kane, Charles Foster Kane.
Charles Foster Kane?
That mother. He looked mad, sweating,
just dripping. Don't ever say that name around him.
He actually put the Charles Foster Kane. Fuck that mother. What do you do to him? He fucked my wife. Yeah, man. That's back when they made trailers that didn't tell you shit about the film.
Wish they go back to that.
Yeah. As I said, this is made by what they called at the time the boy genius, Orson Welles.
24 years old at the time.
24 years old at the time he made this, man. Yeah, this man was 24 years old, had a hell of a career. Went from that to slinging wine while being drunk.
102, take two.
Well, a lot of that slinging wine was because he made Citizen Kane.
What, drove him crazy or something?
No, he made powerful enemies.
Oh, yeah, that's what this movie addresses here. We'll talk about that. No, definitely. This movie really is about, hey, man, don't write that shit.
Right. That's what you should have titled this movie.
Hey, man, somebody should just set that shit on fire. Man, why you doing this?
I'm doing this for you.
Why you doing this shit? The Citizen Kane story.
You don't like it? It's amazing.
Yeah. Thing is, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't publish it, please.
Yeah, please. Let's just keep this between you and me. You a genius, man. Just don't do this shit, please. My name's involved in this. Stop. Yeah, everybody talks about Orson Welles, though. You wouldn't have this movie. That's the thing about it. You wouldn't have this movie if you didn't have it on the page, if you didn't have the printed word. And that script is by Herman J. Mankiewicz, who was some people say a genius writer. Also,
a genius alcoholic.
An alcoholic. If genius is the word, boy, he knew his alcohol. Yeah. He knew how to sneak that shit in when people told him you can't have it.
When he was crippled and it was across the room, he still found a way.
That fool was crippled in a cabin in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and still managed to find alcohol. He just hid it up his ass. He was like a mule, like a drug mule. He just shit bottles when he got in there.
Okay,
Yeah, man. But this is the story of a lot of things here. A lot of things. And I'm going to say this again when we come back, but I've never had to really fragment a review like this before as how to recommend it to people. But here's a story about the movie when it was being written by the man who had to fight for the credit. Until this day, people still don't give him the proper credit for it. And the struggle to kind of squash this, what people consider the greatest movie ever made, for particular political reasons. Let's go ahead and take a look at David Fincher's, what people are saying is his latest masterpiece, Mank. Now, if you're listening, I'm sorry for that moment of silence, but I wanted to show that because even the green, when they have the Green Band trailer and they say brought, they're by the Film Association of America, rated by whatever, they did that in the old style of the movies back then. When the 20s and 30s when Citizen Kane came out, this movie's very detailed, very detail oriented to the style of filmmaking at that time.
Why Hurst? Outside his own blonde Betty Boop, you're always his favorite dinner partner.
Are you familiar with the parable of the organ grinder's monkey?
So before we got into this review, we did a review about another Netflix movie. It takes place in modern times and is a musical. And I was saying that if you don't like musicals, then you're not the audience for this. That just takes out a whole section of people right there. And by the way, I don't think it's a very revolutionary musical that's going to turn people around. Now with this, I feel kind of the same way, except I'm not saying that it's something that is poor, that is going to turn people away. It's just something that is so, again, detailed oriented in everything that I think that I had to break it down in fragments for particular audiences, not just one audience, particular audiences.
It's very niche.
It is.
It's micro niche.
Yeah, man. First of all, this is a critics movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this.
Yeah, you see that 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's why.
Straight up, this is a critics movie, and again, hear me out, because I'm not saying good thing or bad thing.
It just is.
Because if you are a critic, chances are you got into the job because you love movies. You probably even went to film school. You went to film school and therefore had to learn film history right up to the formation of Hollywood politics and business. And this is very specific on those, man, because they do a lot of name dropping in this film and they don't bother to explain any of them. You just have to kind of just catch up or put pieces together. And I'm not saying again, because this is speaking the language of the people who understand that history. For other people, it'll be a foreign language for you. And so when they're talking about the politics, they're talking about, the early studios. They're talking about the people who formed those studios. One of the big players here is Louis B. Mayer, who ran MGM. And they tell you who he's played by in the movie.
Arliss Howard.
Arliss Howard. Yeah, it's who plays him in the film. And there he is right there. Listen, I was in film school and I had to learn all this stuff, and it was very interesting. And I loved learning about it. Now, this movie could be annoying to some people because a lot of people love to drop that history on people because it makes them sound smart. It's like those people who go to Shakespeare plays and movies and like, I know that. Yeah. I know that. Yeah. That's where it would probably get annoying. I'm not one of those people who wants to impress. I'm not one of those people who wants bragging rights for knowing history. I do know a lot of this. And even then I didn't know, and it was so detailed that I was like, okay, I don't even remember that, or I just didn't know that. So for people who don't care about that history, don't know that history, and gonna be, you coming in here cold, there's a chance this movie could push you away, could alienate you in a way, because it's not meant for you. It's not something. This is a petty ass, almost condescending word, but people would say it's not meant for casuals. That's what I'm saying. If you're going in for story, a lot of this stuff is probably going to be over your head if you don't know it, and that's just what it's meant for. Now the other people that it could be for is for people who love Citizen Kane. If you love Citizen Kane, then you probably know about the history of Citizen Kane. Maybe you know the history of the Hollywood system, the formation of Hollywood, the Hollywood heads and all the names, the big players. But you probably know that in Citizen Kane, that the character of Charles Foster Kane was supposed to be William Randolph Hearst. William Randolph Hearst being the big print tycoon at the time. That was a take on him, and that's what the movie's kind of about. This guy's writing a script that's clearly taking shots at this powerful person, and this powerful person has the ability to step on this person and crush them. And so if you know that, if you know the movie and you know all about William Randolph Hearst and everything, then you're like, okay, I know all of that. And then there's a chance that all the other stuff will just kind of interest you as it comes along.
Sure.
You know, and again, I know about that because I saw Citizen Kane when I was in high school, liked it, but didn't even know about it until I had to watch it again in film school and even before we watched the movie, every day going to class. That bitch Orson Welles was looking at us at the door. They hung up a picture.
Oh, did they? Just like that?
They hung up a picture of Orson Welles looking at your ass. Every day when you went to that class, you looking at your ass and rubbing it in because it said...
You'll never be me.
Close. It said, at the age of 25, I made the greatest movie ever made. What the f*** did you do? They rubbed it in, so you had to go into class looking at that every day. So, you know, again, I know all of that. And I can tell you, you know, if that's something that you're interested in, the movie will pull you in. But the third group of people that I think this will interest, man, and get them into, and this is even though I know some of this other stuff, I don't give a about that. I really come in and I appreciate the filmmaking itself. Mm-hmm. The filmmaking on a technical level, if you just love the technical level of filmmaking, you will love this. At least I did.
It's almost an Orson Welles style of filmmaking for this movie.
It is. I believe David Fincher's father wrote the script.
He did.
So David Fincher had been years trying to get this done, and of course, look, at the time when Hollywood was, you know, before we got into streaming and whatnot, like, he ain't making this shit.
Right. Well, he's got to deal with Netflix.
But Netflix now, they can do that.
All right, if we let you make your little movie, you'll come back and make some more stuff for us, though, right?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, man, this is amazing. I said this before, and I say it again. The attention to stylistic detail of that era is incredible. Of course, the cinematography is great. You have to look. It's almost even harder to light because you have to go in and get certain effects for shadows. And the shadowing in this movie, or the shadow placement in this film with the black and white, is incredible. The lighting for shadows in this movie is amazing. And I even think that, I know Industrial Light and Magic was involved, and there are moments where they're outside and the sound is too good. Mm-hmm. It sounds like they're on a stage. I think they recreated backgrounds because you can tell there's a little halo around people, and you could tell it's a green screen effect or some transparency going on. It can get a little pretentious sometimes because they'll do things like put cigarette burns in the corner. You know, it's like, okay, look, I know it ain't no film, all right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know it's a movie, man. You ain't got to do that. But
well, from years from now, somebody will come across it like a lost gem.
But what'd you think about that, man? About the stylistic choices here and the
filmmaking is what I liked about this the most. I mean, it's constantly just on the filmmaking level, it's constantly impressive. You can't take your eyes off of it. Especially you kind of start getting lost in just all the camera angles and the shadows and the different ways he finds to put these things together. And yeah, it's little things like that, like the quote unquote special effects from back in the day. Yeah. To have so many of them in this done so well, it's gorgeous.
Now, when I say that this is a critics for this is a movie for critics, and I'm talking about all these egghead critics gonna be talking about, they gonna be talking all that deep shit. They're gonna be trying to impress people. Well, here's where the asshole critic comes out on me, man, because I'm about to get real nerdy with this, man. I'm about to go deep with some film stuff right here, and it's going to sound probably a little eggheady and pretentious to you, but I'm serious when I say this. I'm not saying anybody can go and film black and white, because some people will film black and white and they'll do it beautiful, and they'll say, "Look at that. That's like the old times." Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's more to it than that. They pay so much attention to detail. David Fincher did to the filmmaking style of the time, right down to the old language of film, the editing, the pacing. It's not enough to just crossfade in the movie. There were ways that people delivered dialogue, and then they did a fade out and they did a fade back in, and they paid attention to details like that. They spoke the language of that film back in the day. Even for people who might not understand what's going on, the dialogue is so clever. I'm talking about people, they really want to get it down to the rhythm of speaking at that time. There is a rhythm that goes with, there's a cadence to the way people will talk.
The mid-Atlantic accent.
Yeah, but also this the the wit of everybody. Everybody knew what to say at the right time. You know, they had the best comebacks. They had the best jokes for everything. And they actually wrote that very well. It's entertaining to listen to these people talk. And they have some badass scenes in here too, man. I mean, look, you ain't gotta understand the movie to know when somebody walks in a room and up.
Well, especially when they stumble.
And when they come in the room drunk and you're like, oh shit. You know, there's some brilliant scenes like that, man. I think the casting is weird.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so too.
What did you think?
It is one of those where you're like, oh, that's the real guy? Huh. You don't look nothing like, not even a little bit.
Well, the deal here is that some of the casting is spot on. It's amazing. And there's a reason why they've been putting this in the marketing. So Marion Davies, an actress at the time, who's also pretty infamous for her scandalous relationship with William Randolph Hearst. If you watch Citizen Kane, there is a representation of her in that movie.
An unflattering one.
Very, very. They made her just stupid. They put in the title, it's dumb bitch. But Amanda Seyfried here, you know, shit, she got them eyes.
Yeah, she does.
She even looking over there like, God damn. She looking at her, she's like, shit. Are my eyes that big? But perfect casting right there. Perfect, at least by appearances.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when she first comes on, I was like, oh man, that's almost like they pulled her from those old movies and stuck her here.
Yeah. But as far as the real Herman J. Mankiewicz goes, he was 55 when he died, and he's an alcoholic, so he probably even looks older. And plus, people just look older back then, no matter what.
Yeah, true.
So he was 55 when he died, and you can clearly look at Gary Oldman and be like, you ain't no 55 years old, and it wouldn't even matter because he's great in the role. Gary Oldman is amazing in the role. And I'm talking about the delivery of dialogue and why it's so appealing. A lot of that is his dialogue. He reminds me of like the way he talks reminds me of a very suave Ernest Burgess Meredith.
Well, it's okay. So, I mean, since the movie's doing deep dives, I'll do another one. I don't know what Herman Mankiewicz sounds like, but all of Gary Oldman's, his voice, his cadence, it's almost exactly like this actor Tudor Owen, who used to do a lot of radio stuff, and I listen to him all the time. I hear him on shows like Pat Novak for Hire and other shows, but he would always play this character who was an alcoholic who would come in and say really witty and funny things. And every time I wasn't looking at Gary Oldman, I thought, I was like, that's Tudor Owen. No, it's not. It's Gary Oldman. What is going on here?
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with the way he spoke. I didn't have a problem even with his looks. What I have a problem with is that the man is older than 55, obviously. And a lot of people in here have these young wives, man, and young.
Well, that was the thing back then.
It was the thing back then, but it's like, you know, you could still look this. So this actress right here, her name is Tuppence Middleton.
You can't get a more British name than that.
She's got to be British, right?
They don't make British any names more British than that.
I mean, you're not
Tuppence Middleton.
Yeah, you're not even British anymore. You're like an elf or something. Yeah. But she is 33 years old. Gary Oldman's 62, and I don't know how old she was at the time when it was happening, but it's like look, that 7 years just makes a big difference. Where it's like, damn, that looks like your granddaughter, man. Also, just for the moments that he's on, it's not that big of a difference. But the guy that plays Orson Welles, Tom Burke, got the voice down.
The voice he has down. All right? Every time he's speaking, I was like, damn, this guy is good. He's better than Maurice LaMarche. And then when you see him, you're like, you ain't no goddamn Orson Welles.
No, when you see him, he looks like a pirate or something.
Yeah.
He don't look like, comes in with that goatee and shit. And you could like Captain Morgan coming in here. You don't look like no Orson Welles. But there was one shot, and I wish I could have got it, but I was rushing to get in here. There's one shot where he's talking to Mank in the dark, and he's looking intense, and he's about to beat his ass.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, that is Orson Welles right there, man. They might even have it in the trailer, but yeah, it was. Let me see here. Yeah, there's moments in here where, again, it goes right down to the light. There it is right there. And I'm like, now I'm looking at it like, no, he still look like Satan or something.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I'll take it back.
As a matter of fact, when he got to that point, not only did he not look like Orson Welles, but when he's having to yell, he kind of loses his ability to sound like him too.
But for a long time, he had it.
Yeah.
He had it, man. Somebody that I was really impressed with in here was Tom Pelfrey. This guy.
Oh, his brother.
His brother.
What did we just see him in?
I tell you what, we just saw
bugging the shit out of me, and
because I was watching that too.
Iron Fist, right?
What my mind was before the thing happened that ruined my mind. And I don't gotta sleep on the side.
That Uber driver, like, I'm about to put this motherfucker out. That's Ozark.
Oh, okay.
Ozark is where I saw is what I remember seeing him in the whole time. He was in Iron Fist.
Yeah, he was one of the shitty brother in Iron Fist.
No, he was in Iron Fist, but I was watching him. I remember him.
Oh, yeah, I'm not up that far in Ozark.
That's the second season of Ozark.
That's in the second season?
Yeah.
I've seen the second season.
Oh, the third season then. That's, what's her name? The
wife?
Yeah. What's her name? That's her brother in the series.
Oh, okay.
And he's talking, and look, that dude was so good. I thought he really was a old country yokel hick, you know, because he played, you know, when you see somebody for the first time,
you're
thinking like, okay, that's who they are.
Right.
Just like when you saw, what's his name in Hard Candy, you think he's a real rapist. What's his
Pedophile.
name? Pedophile.
Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson. I saw him, I'm like, yeah, he old country ass redneck. And I kept watching the movie. I kept watching Mank, and I'm like, I've seen this guy. And it took me a while to recognize him, and because he's playing a completely different person. He plays Mank's brother.
I hear you're hunting dangerous game.
God bless William Randolph Hearst.
You know, you see him in the movie, and he has that cadence of the time, man, and it's really he's you know, it just goes to show how much range this actor has right here. When somebody takes a while for me to realize who they are, or it takes a while for me to realize who they are, I'm like, wow, you know, they did a good job, and they can tackle a lot of roles. At least from what I've seen from these two roles right here.
I wish you'd seen him in Iron Fist. You'd be like, I don't ever want to see him ever again.
Was he terrible in that?
Yes.
Oh shit.
I mean, the material was bad, so
I mean, it's Iron Fist, man. Come on.
It was, but he was not looking good in that thing.
He's like, brother, come on. It was Iron Fist. Wait, nobody got out there looking good. I do have to say that this movie did bring out a lot of range in a lot of people. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who obviously just got out of the bar right here. He's carrying it. Like Trent Reznor's carrying his ass right now. I can drive. Come on, Atticus. You've usually heard like the moody, almost kind of synth music they've done for a lot of David Fincher's movies and some other things. They did the music here.
Yeah, they did the music in Soul, and it's completely different.
See, I didn't see Soul yet, and I heard that they were doing the music in Soul, and being I haven't seen it yet, I'm actually looking very much forward to hearing what that is like. But here, you know, again, you know, they're expanding, man.
Yeah,
they're doing a lot of stuff that's very different from what you've heard before. You know, like I said, worked a lot with David Fincher. A lot of that stuff is very dark, very moody, very synth. And it's now like they have, you know, they can fit different genres. The music fits that period very well that they do here. You know, David Fincher is turning into somebody that I really love. Sometimes I don't like every film a filmmaker does, but if they can show that they can take on different genres, they can make a different movie that feels much different from the last film, or take on different stories. I like that. David Fincher has done so much, man. You know, I'm thinking of things like anywhere from Fight Club to Benjamin Buttons. You know,
so many things.
So many things. You know, the what do you call it? The Social Network.
Yeah. Gone
Girl. You know, Alien, which is what he started out with. You know, like there's so many things he's done. Not to mention the stuff that he's produced, like
Mindhunters
and Love, Sex, and Robots. You know, he's got a very eclectic mind, and I think that I admire him for that. And now we see him doing this, and this is probably the most different thing that he's done. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as, again, you know, I don't know, depending on what angle you're looking for, if you're looking for one of those angles at all, he's done something pretty incredible here. I love it so much that I have to give it a full price for that, man. I mean, I look at the filmmaking and I say, you know, this is what I'm talking about when I say people go in and they care about what they're doing. This is, you know, they genuinely went in wanting to make a particular kind of film,
Yeah,
a particular vision.
I mean, it's a labor of love, and and his dad wrote the script. Who has passed away. So of course, he threw his full passion into it. I'm a big David Fincher fan, and I adore the filmmaking here. I like what I'm looking at, but I'm not getting a good sense of story flow. And there's great dialogue here and there, but when it came down to what this was, a lot of what this was about, I was like, man, okay, so the guy who wrote Citizen Kane isn't who we thought, and this is just to say, like, hey, this is the way it went down. I mean, possibly, a lot of it's based on a essay by Pauline Kael, which people have said, like, yeah, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so niche that it didn't so much leave me out to where I didn't understand it. It just didn't grab me in a way where I cared that much. It's like, it's interesting to see this stuff play out, and at the same time, I'm not having any feel for it. On something that I didn't like, that's kind of small, and it doesn't ruin the picture, but
yeah.
I don't like the romanticizing of how his wife accepted his behavior. Just on the filmmaking alone, I would give it a matinee because all that's brilliant, but for how it impacted me, not much.
It didn't impact me either. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think the story is any good either. And that's one of the things that I felt also. It's like it's too long. Mm-hmm. This movie don't need to be 2.5. I mean, nearly 2.5 hours long, and it does jump through time a lot. And that's why I'm saying, people, I don't think there's a whole lot there for people unless you just are really into this story. Are you really into the filmmaking? When I say story, I'm talking about history.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about watching this. I was like, man, this is similar. I mean, filmmaking's different, but it's story-wise, it's similar to Trumbo, but that really was engaging, whereas this is not.
That's why I say if you love filmmaking that much, which I'm pretty just in awe of everything I see as far as the filmmaking goes. That's what I can recommend it on. But I agree with you completely. Like they even put up on the screen flashback.
Yeah,
they keep saying flash. I was just kind of like, God damn, man, how many flashbacks you?
I know it's several of them. Why can't we just tell this story?
Yeah, why you got to keep going back? And we don't have to do all that.
And I guess what bothers me about that is when it comes to time for awards, Hollywood really does reward films that are about filmmaking, and this is all about that. That's
why I have to keep saying, because I'm giving this a full price. I could watch this, and I love the scenes. There's so many scenes in here that I just love. I don't need a story. And that's rare. Sometimes you just give me some scenes, and I'm fine. That means I can just come in and watch this movie in pieces, and I will do that again with this, because there are so many things that I love to watch in this. But yeah, as far as a whole, it doesn't flow together well. Nah, I agree with you completely on that. I can't. I mean, shit, if you gave this some old bullshit for that, I'd be like, hey, I can't say nothing. You right,
Oh, well then, okay.
No, I mean, if you did, I'd be like, I get it, man.
I mean, it's like, yeah, but it really is. It's like I'm giving it sort of like an honorary matinee because of, like I said, the craftsmanship is great, but ultimately it was not an enjoyable experience.